Next up, taking a peek at the steering wheel for the vehicle. So this is going to be a full walk around looking at the steering wheel as well as the cluster screen. So let's go for it. Starting off along the left-hand side, we've got a series of different buttons. Ones on the very bottom are going to let us increase or decrease the volume. We've got a voice command prompt here. So we've got a few things that we could do. So pushing this button, we would have the flexibility of doing things like changing songs, radio stations. We can navigate using our voice. One of the cool things is that we can even change the temperature inside the vehicle. So we could say driver's temperature 17 degrees, etc. It is amazing what we can do. But one of the cool things with the new Sync 4 media screen is that we do have a more advanced voice assistant. So we technically don't even need to push the button. If we have it set up, we could even say OK Ford in order for it to turn on instead. So it's a really smart system there. But it is available. There is an option we can navigate using our voice, change climate settings, and do a ton of other things. Now this is going to be the buttons for our adaptive cruise control system. So we can easily toggle the system on or off. You can see, actually, let me get the steering wheel out of the way. And one thing I didn't point out, the steering wheel is going to be either a manual or a power telescoping, just depending on which version of the vehicle you're in. But moving that steering wheel out of the way, along the very bottom right side, you can see that we've got some different messages that are popping up there now. So as we push to turn it on, we've got a little distance indicator. Let me zoom in a teeny little bit there so you can see exactly what's going on. So we're going to press the distance button there in order to be able to adjust the distance. So how close or far away do we want to be from the vehicle that's in front of us? I want you to think of it like that old school, like 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi rule. This next one is going to be our lane keeping system. So we can easily toggle the system on off as necessary. Once we've got up to the preferred speed, we're going to press set, either plus or minus there. We can either increase or decrease 1 kilometer or 1 mile per hour at a time. We can temporarily pause the system if we want to, or if we come down to a complete stop and we're prompted, we can push this button in order to resume our set speed again. So it's a very straightforward system in order to be able to use it. Honestly, I do recommend getting the hang of it because it is such a great system to use. As we look along the right-hand side, series of different, let me zoom you out a bit, series of other buttons that are available there. So this one is going to let us change between songs and stations. So let's jump over to audio for a second. So we can just do a quick push if we wanted to jump between our different presets, but if we also do a press and hold, that's going to let us seek that way instead. So you've got a few different options that are available. And then, oh, of course, no audio there. Okay, let's find a station there. Let's do a quick little, I think there's music playing there. Let's try it. Of course, nice and regal. All right, hold on, let's try some rock. So amazing song, amazing sound inside of this thing. We've got a few different options for audio though, but it sounds fantastic. And like I said, we've got the flexibility of changing songs, radio stations there. Off to the left-hand side, we can either increase or decrease our volume as well. And then from there, we can also answer or hang up on a phone call. And then we've got these menu buttons, which are going to let us control what's going on with that cluster screen. So same idea, I'm going to zoom in a teeny little bit. And as I go, all I'm doing is we're going to have our general menu button. We've got our basic back button, and then we can up or down or push this in order for us to essentially say OK. So we go back to our My View, and then on our main My View screen, we've got driver assistance, calming screen, so if you want nothing really in the middle there. We can move into different trip counters and things like that as well. So starting off, driver assistance. If we move through, we go into My View, we can go to our trip counter for trip 1, trip 2. Some options again for driver assistance. Moving back down between these options. Pushing the main button again, we can go back to our My View, which gives us our main menu instead. We've got some options for our truck info, so tire pressure. We've got our vehicle pitch and roll, so we can see what is going on with the vehicle. So as we are taking this thing off-road, we can see what's going on. Along the very top, you can also see our turning angle on top of that. We've got our power distribution, so we can see what's getting what amount of power as we go there. Moving down, we've got what seatbelts are currently plugged in, back to our driver assistant settings there again. Moving back, we've got our base truck info, or back again into towing now. So we've got our trailer information, we've got our trailer tire information, so if we've got our TPMS sensors that are hooked up and connected to the vehicle, we can see what's going on there. From there, we've got our trailer light status, which no trailer connected. We can see all of our gain as well for the actual trailer as we're hooked up, back into our driver assistance. different things for navigation. So we can navigate to our home address. We can look at previous destinations, our favorites, see what point of interest icons are available nearby. So things like restaurants, gas stations, chargers, things like that. Tons of things available. We can also jump back to go into our phone. So if a phone was connected, we'd be able to make phone calls and things like that right through the screen. We'd also have the flexibility of pushing the voice command prompt if we wanted to make a phone call that way instead. Moving down into our audio, we would have all of our available audio sources. So if we had a USB stick with MP3s, if we were hooked up with Bluetooth, all of our available options would be there. Then we can easily select which audio source we want to listen to into some generic settings. So we can see there in our speedometer, we've got a mix. So we've got our miles per hour and our kilometers per hour, or we can switch it out so that it's just miles per hour instead. Our brake coach, we've got our EV driving history, which we haven't driven anything, so we can see that there's nothing there as of right now. And then back to our My View again. So a few things that are going to be showing up obviously in a few different spots, but it is nice. We do have the flexibility of adjusting our My View. So this is our My View, and that's the main screen, but we can customize what's showing up on this screen. So if we want our trip 1, 2 counter, our My Trip, our seatbelts, pitch and roll, etc., we can show exactly what we'd like to, well, for the most part inside of this screen. But really straightforward. We've got our trip counter, as I said there. Moving into some other options, but a few other basics. So we can see along the top of the screen itself. Well, I love that. So cool. When we don't do anything, the calming screen just brings us up to this instead. I love it because we could have some base information there. And like if we have our trip counters there, all we have to do is press and hold OK. If we want to be able to reset, so you can see that it's fully reset there. Off to the left side, we can see what our current charge status is along with our current range. So we can see how much range we currently have left on the truck. Along the right-hand side, we can see what's going on with our current speed as we go. So really straightforward. We are working off regenerative braking inside of this thing on top of that, but it is cool. We can see what's going on with our temperature, battery temperature, things like that. Along the very bottom, we can also see what gear we're in. So park, reverse, neutral, drive. We can see our outside temperature. We've got what station we're currently listening to. If we have our lane keeping system toggled on or off. And then we've got our direction as well as our current mileage. So really straightforward using this thing, but I love all of the features, flexibility, all of the options that are available here. Really, really nice. But that's everything you need to know about the steering wheel as well as the cluster screen inside of the 2022 F-150 Lightning. Well, that was a look at the steering wheel and cluster inside of the Ford F-150 Lightning. What did you think? Really straightforward and very simple to use, but if you have any questions, ran into any problems, drop down in the comment section below and let me know. I'm more than willing to talk you through any issues that you might be having. But if you enjoyed the video, thumbs up, share it with your social networks, and until I see you next time, take care.